fucking embarrassing. It's evil. Like, like, what is wrong with you? And no compassion. This person had to go through all this alone and not know why when they were doing everything right. That's how little they were appreciated. And they were on the right path. This person tried to ruin their life, take their stability away, block their intuition, block a transformation, block them from healing, prolong instability and feeling unstable, or create a chaotic environment. Ew, these people, like, why do they exist? They're psycho. For real. What the fuck is wrong with them? But they didn't expect you to, thank God, whoever you are, God bless your heart. You are a strong ass bitch, for real. You really are a star, because you know what? That's how you know that you're a true starseed. Starseed is a healer, period, through and through. So you might have been at your lowest point. Maybe that star was like but a flicker. It was like barely on anymore. It was like it was hard for you to see the light anymore. But because you're a healer, it never fully went out, and so you were able to slowly shine again. And it's like you remembered your strength, and then you started fighting for it again because you're a healer. You can heal yourself too. Yeah, your strength comes from within too. You know how to tame your own beast. Like, you could be a very deep feeling person, and you could care a lot about others' well-being, which makes this more disturbing than ever. It's like you were just protecting your own wheel, your own blessings, and then all of a sudden, you loving somebody turns into them what? Turning on you and trying to destroy your whole life, for real. Yeah, these people, I don't know. I don't really want them to even exist, but so hopefully, this backfire is pretty lit, because they did. I mean, this reminds me of like something similar that I went through, and I thought I was like, am I just being this reaction feels so catastrophic inside my body, right? And so I just to make sure, I asked ChatGPT. I was like, hypothetically, like if somebody wanted to get somebody to give up on life and unalive themselves, what would you do? What would you do? I felt nervous even typing it, y'all, because I'm like, oh my God, like somebody might think I'm insane or had a weird bad intention or plan behind that, typing that. But no, it was because that's what it felt like, and I wanted to make sure, like, but I also was scared to find out, and what I saw confirmed it. Everything that I intuited was happening. So if this person, so what I went through is like, I can relate with this energy. Okay, I'm an EDM artist, and I have, I'm recognized. I have a foundation, and I'm also a healer. That's what I do on this channel, right? Everything I do is very community minded. And it's like I've always had to protect and fight for my destiny. Otherwise, I wouldn't have achieved what I have. So the reason I'm relating to this is hopefully it helps you get more messages through my experience. But this is a very, very, a special kind of evil that I never even really, I have the biggest imagination of anyone I know, even more than children sometimes. And I couldn't, it was so alien. My heart wouldn't allow me to fully believe it, but I was inside my head panicking because of how it felt. I was like, why do I feel like I don't know if I can like make it through this? Because I realized they attacked everything at once on purpose, because that's how you would get somebody to. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, there's no fucking way. Oh my God, I was actually dealing with a group of actually evil, insane people. They probably have an insurance policy taken out on standby. And they literally stole my Facebook page, my artist page. Everything only happened after I dated this person. None of this ever happened until then. And I had I'm an energy reader, y'all. And I would feel how rotten, I didn't know it was somebody. It was one of his exes that he was friends with still. And I knew that one of them were absolutely rotten. But he was under the illusion that they knew him forever, way longer than me. And I was like the weird one. I was the eccentric one, but it's like, nevertheless, it's successful and like inspiring. But like they were like making me feel crazy, like because they kept everything I did. There was nothing I could do right, and I was like, no, something's going on here. There's something wrong with this group. I don't feel safe. And sadly, my ex at the time, because it was being projected onto me, it was an illusion that he couldn't see through, because sadly I would react sometimes unstably because I was being attacked from all angles, and nobody was helping me. They were gaslighting me. They were, all this stuff. And when I would try to tell him, they were already undermining me to such a degree in the background that it made me look crazy to explain myself. It made me look like I was like a little crazy, or I was the one, but they were projecting all this onto me. This was everything that they were. And I guarantee you, I got visions of this person studying or reading dark psychology books. This was some kind of a con. And they made it seem like to this masculine that they maybe wanted a new beginning. And this person might have still, like my ex still might have had feelings for this person and didn't really tell me, but I had my like suspicions. And they disguised it as wanting to be with him again, probably. So, and I didn't know. I felt the energy, but he wouldn't tell me. He's very avoidant, conflict avoidant. How convenient, right? You're supposed to tell me when I'm being undermined and like talked shit about over and over again in the background, because you're supposed to put a boundary there. We are in a relationship, and it started seeping into my energy, which, as you can see, I was at like 900,000 Spotify monthly listeners. So yes, I had to protect that. I always have since I was a little girl. I wouldn't have reached the success I did if I hadn't. It's no easy feat to go after. Like, honestly, you got to be a little crazy to pursue music, or it's, you got to be able to handle rejection over and over again. You have to be a healer, because you have to heal your own rejections and your own letdowns over and over again, and still be a light for others, and still have enough light to as fuel to believe in your destiny. And no matter what, it's like I'm talking full belief. You just know. It's like you're divinely guided that it's going to work out. You don't know when exactly, but as long as you're strong and you protect it, you're going to be successful. There's nothing else that you can picture yourself doing. That's how I felt. It was just in me, and I breathed it more than air, basically. Okay, so it paid off, it's like, it was so like ingrained in my like makeup, right, that it was like it would be cringe to not see me do music. You know what I mean? It's like I can't. Yeah. So I did, and that's how much faith I had. And these people were all insecure. They all did weird shit for money. Some of them, and I started getting suspicious. I'm like, okay, so you're not a part of some of these things anymore. You like distance yourself from these people. And he said that's what he presented it as, but I think he was like kind of lying. He was in between worlds, and I started catching up on that. I started catching on that energy, but he wouldn't communicate this to me, and in turn he put me in a very dangerous spot. Like I was in danger, emotionally, mentally, and because you have to understand these tactics work, and if you don't know what's going on, because they use it's emotional terrorism, y'all. And it's next level sadistic what was happening, and I was by myself, and all I had was my partner, and they were all his connections. So what can I really think if like I'm telling you what's going on? Okay, I realize it's making me sound a little like far-fetched, but I'm serious though, like, and I'm not going to tell you I'm a psychic because you're an atheist, so that's just going to give you more weird shit to talk about me and behind my back with your weird friends that you deny you ever do, but I can feel something is going on. So I was right the whole time, but I was like made to think that I was far-fetched, and the more and more that was the plan, y'all. They wanted to make the Page of Cups. Remember I showed you, was it here? They wanted to make the Page of Cups next to the Seven of Cups. They wanted to make, by the time they were done devaluing you and attacking you from all angles and you not knowing where it's coming from, while you're trying to also protect what you already have going on. And you're a Queen of Swords. Thank God. So I was a Queen of Swords. I'm all of that, right? I wasn't fully in my Empress energy yet, especially because I was trying to heal and I was getting attacked from all angles. And I started to feel like, I mean, it was showing up in my physicality. I ended up in the hospital and stuff. Like, I had 160 heart rate. It was like sick. It got real bad. And it felt evil. It did. It felt like people were trying to end me. But I didn't know how to articulate that or explain it because it was unclear with the Ace of Swords in the reverse. So it feels like this is my story. I don't know if you guys relate to this, but like, my ex just left. He just literally ghosted out of nowhere after being together for 2 years straight almost. And everything was going well. I had just performed in front of 20,000 people at the LA Convention Center. I thought that, like, oh my God, I should be like, why are we having any fights or any problems? Like, this, like, things are going well. Not perfect, but like, what the fuck is happening? It's like everything that seems to progress a little, like a huge step forward, is quickly taken back like 10 steps. And I didn't understand what was happening or why. I was like, but we were just in love though. And we were each other's favorite person a second ago. Why do I feel so unsafe in this energy? Like, what is happening here? And he started to project onto me what they were projecting, or assuming things with me and not giving me the benefit of the doubt or asking questions. He would just say, anytime I would try to set a boundary, let's just say, justifiable, healthy, bare minimum boundaries against his ex, okay, that was like not mentally inappropriate things, but like inviting him to do things that were not you know, healthy or even legal one time. So when she proposed some kind of weird idea on how to make some money that was illegal and could land somebody potentially in prison, I set a boundary because he didn't. And I was surprised by that. I was like, wait a minute, you're not going to, like, I thought you said you were done with that stuff. So why are you even, why doesn't she know not to approach you with that? What's going on? Like, if you were done with that, why would she feel comfortable to go to you and offer you? Like, I'm not stupid. You know, I'm a Queen of Swords. But they tried to confuse me and betray me. They wanted me to feel so confused why 10 swords were in my back out of nowhere and why he was gone. They wanted it to happen like a surprise attack. Because something I was doing was merit making, so it was confusing. Imagine, y'all. I was doing everything right. Everything a psychologist would ever tell you to do to live a happy, high vibrational life. But it was like there was one problem after the other, and it destabilizes you, and then there's no clarity on top of it. So I had to, everything I did was felt on the energy. So and nothing could fully sway me from abandoning that fully, because I am an actual, I do have actual psychic gifts. That's why I knew I was going to be successful, and I see things way far out that, like, they don't see, so they can't understand, right? But there wasn't a reason why. There was no justification or clarity as to why all of a sudden, just the evening before, we were in love, and then the next day, everything switched, and then he left, and then got a new phone. I mean, it was so nuts. Somebody was trying to steal and sabotage these excessively harmful friends of this group of people. And I had a feeling, and like all these different things started happening, like, and he gave access to them, and they wanted to leave me in such an unstable, dangerous place, but simultaneously convincing my partner that I was crazy and that he needed to protect himself from me. A successful, like, 4 times published, deep, sensitive songwriter, healer. That and they did such a good job, dude, because they studied. They read dark psychology. I mean, ChatGPT confirmed it. I trust ChatGPT. You know, I'm sure you guys do also. I couldn't even believe it. It confirmed. I was so scared. Like, my hands shook when I typed it. I was like, there's no way. No, I have to find out. Oh my God, they were trying to unalive me. They were so that they could steal my life. Literally, it was like a sadistic destiny swap situation. And then I put everything together in my head. I'm like, oh my God, So it was them that stole my Facebook, my music page with like 15,000 followers. And that was the first thing. Then it was, I got hit with my credit with like an account from Verizon Wireless that wasn't mine. And then I couldn't, like, they were blocking my ability to feel stable enough to even have a normal heart rate, let alone focus on my work. That was also part of the dark psychology. It was making me more and more unstable to the point where I had to go to the hospital, while also convincing my partner that he needed to run away from me and that I was dangerous. And I wasn't. I had never attacked anybody, but it did get to the point where one time I said, listen, if you guys have a problem with me, let me know where you want to go. So, because it would be much more time sufficient if you wanted to just brawl it out or something, because I need to work and I don't know what your problem is with me, and nobody has honest communication. And so I know you don't like me, and I know you keep trying to F my boyfriend, and I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know why you do that when I told you that we're in a monogamous relationship, and he told all of you that we were going to get married. But then I realized that, like, they were making him feel as though I was trying to change that I was engulfing, that I was changing him in a bad way. But meanwhile, it was a healthy one. It was everything right that I was doing. I was so good for this person, but they literally brainwashed him. So I had nobody to talk to that was like grounded in reality. I was the oddball out. I was the eccentric one. And I couldn't articulate everything. I didn't have all the psychology knowledge that I do now at the time, because I was so terrified that I had to study 8,000 hours to feel safe in this world after this experience. And I still am recovering. I've been isolating for a year straight almost before I started going out again. Like, it was that bad, y'all. And I had to rebuild my credit because, like, they attacked me. They attacked me from all angles, guys. It was nuts at the same time. All at the same time. And so it feels like a surreal nightmare. Like, there's no fucking way people are this evil. There's no way. No way in hell. I've never experienced anything like it. I'm a community-minded person, so, and I'm a public figure to a degree with my music. And I know thousands of people. I've never been treated this way, and I didn't do anything to these people. So it made it even more, like, haunting and daunting, right? And it made me feel insecure to discuss, because it does make me appear like paranoid, or like, because they had already driven into his mind that I was trying to isolate him from his friends, that I was like some like narcissist, and I was going to slowly engulf his life, and I didn't want him to have friends. No, I just didn't want him to have friends with people that were trying to sabotage our relationship and screw my boyfriend and convince him that our balanced, healthy, monogamous life and my career choice that I was already really doing well with and am destined to do, because I'm good at it and I love it and it helps people. Everything when you guys come around gets sabotaged. So yeah, you're not friends. You're something else. Something's what. And because though they had like been doing brainwashing on him for so long, he thought things were normal and healthy that weren't from the jump. When it was just him and I, it was perfect. It was like we were soulmates. We have the same North Node. I'm a Sagittarius sun. He's a Sagittarius moon. I mean, there were so many things that were like... Anyway, I'm 1122. He's 111. Like, there were so many things that were like... It was a fated connection, right? And it would have brought a lot of abundance. But again, stuff like spirituality, because he was around people, like, you have to be godless to be this evil, right? And so they drilled into him that believing in spirituality, because they're the dark side of femininity. They're like psychos. One of them is a sociopath and has spent time in prison. So, like, I really mean that. Like, I don't know why he wouldn't consider that, but okay. It's because that's what happens when you are around narcissistic abuse. You lose the ability to gauge reality testing. And because I was an artist, an eccentric, and even if you were intelligent, if you're not creative at least a little, which they weren't really, because when you're around narcissists, they block your creativity. You might not realize that's what's happening, but that's what they condition you to. They condition you to feel insecure about having innovation and ideas and going after that, because it makes them feel insecure to see you succeed, because they're codependent, and they condition you to be trauma bonded and to be their slave, basically, to possess you. They don't want to see you succeed. They just want you to be tethered to them. And they definitely don't want you getting more attention or having a happy life without them. So it's like they sabotage everything, and they do it in such a way where you believe that they're making sense, because like you think that this person loves you. And if you don't have the knowledge about how deep and how many layers it goes, you don't realize that all of a sudden you don't really recognize yourself. You don't feel confident in making decisions anymore. All of a sudden, the part of your brain that is responsible for making quick, rational decision making, it feels foggy whenever you try to make those decisions. So to relieve some of the cortisol that starts pumping your body, you look to the same person that's abusing you to make sure, like, what would you do in this situation? Like, but that's actually the person that's causing that brain fog. They're literally causing you brain abuse. It would show up on a brain scan. It's reversible, but you need to get the fuck away from these people. It's so pervasive, narcissistic abuse, that it increases your chance of Alzheimer's, y'all, by like a drastic amount. It affects your memory. It causes autoimmune issues. And looking back now, you guys, I had more, not just instability, but I started having health problems. I couldn't sleep. I didn't feel safe around their energies, but I didn't know why, because I didn't really know them. I've never hung out with them, but I didn't know that they were like mastermind manipulators, like like to the point where like my partner wouldn't be able to even imagine that there's a possibility, hey, I'm going to talk to my person and figure something out because something's off here. Or maybe they're jealous of my person who is, very well known in the music community and performing in front of 20,000s of people. And I know my ex-wife did want to be a singer, but her parents talked her out of doing it. And it's almost like you were the walking example of everything she wanted to be. So maybe there's a possibility that like she wanted to sabotage me because I actually went for it and it's successful. You don't want to consider that even? No, well, no, they wouldn't do that because it's far-fetched, you guys. It is. How do you talk to somebody about that? And it's like, so I felt so uncomfortable. And then I'd set like a normal, reasonable boundary because she invited him to do something really shady. And I noticed the change in his behavior. Like he was really considering it. And I was like, wait a minute. And I actually held space to observe because I wanted to organically observe. I'm an observer. That's why I'm a Queen of Swords energy. I'm very I pay attention at micro details, I notice. And I have like a laser sharp memory. So when they try to gaslight me, it was very difficult. So they tried everything on me. They tried everything, y'all. That's why they made sure it was a surprise attack. And they made sure I couldn't reach anybody. I looked for at least, and they knew that me not getting clarity would prolong my suffering and block my creativity as much as possible and maybe make me give up on life. Like literally that was the goal, because I almost think that they had like an insurance policy on standby in case, on top of the fact that they got something out of him leaving me and giving towards them. And they were trying to, what he didn't understand was they were benefiting from, they were making it seem like they wanted a new start with him. And it was benefiting him to do this with them. But what he didn't understand is what they really wanted was control over my situation through him. That he wasn't the most important factor. Actually, I was. I was the most valuable player. But they made it seem that, and me saying that, right, it makes me seem pompous, cocky. No. I'm serious. I know that you want to believe that they want this new beginning and it's about you, but I swear to you, that's not who you think. I don't know them. I'm just basing it on the energy, and I'm telling you, that person is not who you think they are. You're under the impression that is the first person that has taught you true kindness in this world. That person isn't truly kind, because you know how I know why? I am. And when you're truly kind, you're not selective. You don't laugh at people when they're feeling unsafe with their mental health. I heard her laughing in the background, so I knew something was wrong. I was like, oh my God, these people, like, something's seriously wrong. Because it wasn't funny. I was actually, like, in danger, and it's because they were pulling dark psychology, dark magic on me. Like, that's what they were doing. And this was a dictator. This is somebody that's ruthless, unfeeling. They don't have empathy. So to them, this is funny. And all they care about is getting what they want. They're sociopath, his ex. And so, and honestly, there's something wrong with all of them, seriously. And this is a person that has the gift of gab, right? So she can convince everybody in the group through time in the background, covertly in advance, that anything that I may say or react as would just prove her narrative that see, I told you she was going to do that. She's crazy. See, we have to get him away from her. She's dangerous. Oh my God. And then I would hear people would text me like, hey, is this her number? And then he would say, why are you texting my parents? And I'm like, what? I'm not. Like, it was so many things. So, and he would just believe, and I would be like silenced. And I didn't understand why. It's because they were devaluing me in the background for like ever. But I didn't know. I would just feel the energy coming at me, and I'd be like, what the fuck is going on? Why does this feel so evil and sick? Like, so evil. Like, I'm talking demonic, like evil, like when you meet an energy, y'all, that finds it to be fun to watch as somebody that's confident like this, it really says a lot about how sadistic somebody's head is, that the only thing that makes them feel better than you is to dominate your entire life. I'm not talking about one aspect of it either. I'm talking about break your confidence, and you're known for this. Break your ability to heal yourself and others. Get you to not have boundaries and fight for your own good karma and blessings that you've probably worked for since you were a kid until now, you know, and to steal it. They wanted to destiny swap, okay, and I said that, but I sounded crazy because like, he's an atheist. They're like, what the fuck is destiny swap? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know. Okay, cool. Anyway, remember what I said. Maybe we'll talk again in a couple of years and it'll all make sense. But I have documented all of it, and they pretended to be me, made fake emails, tried to block they went into my music network, y'all. Making fake shit, pretending to be me to tarnish my reputation. It was horrible. Meanwhile, I've created this since music became professional at 15. I'm 35. So I had been doing this for almost 20 years. They were attacking my life's work since I was a child. That's why when it came up that, like, this is something you could have been working on as a child, I was like, oh my God, is this, like, this could be more details about, like, what I went through. And I'm wondering why Spirit wants me to, like, see this now, because... Anyway, it's not... What they were doing, it did definitely work. I almost, honestly, like, didn't make it, but I did. Thank God. My spirituality, they actually woke up my psychic gifts even more. And I didn't even... That was another thing that was going on simultaneously, y'all. Sorry, I'm like actually shaking a little bit because I'm recalling this energy that they had me in. They and I didn't understand too, like so he left, right? He paid half of the rent, the rest of the lease, but because if you work in music, you don't get paid the same way. So I didn't have time to prepare to have a buffer because we get paid like every 3 months sometimes and so without notice, I knew that I was going to be in a tough spot. Meanwhile, I'm grieving like what was meant to end me. And I had also just found out that I was pregnant, and I had them telling him that I was making it up, even though I sent him videos, and I couldn't even believe that I was grieving it all at the same time. Him leaving, the person I thought I was going to marry. We were just talking about Disneyland. We everything was going great. Like, we just moved to California. I just performed at the LA Convention Center. Do you know how huge that was? The biggest show that Slander's ever had was the one that I performed at. And if you know melodic dubstep, y'all, that was like such a wild night. Like, it was amazing. So it made me feel like, oh my God, coming to California was the greatest move ever. This is just the beginning. It's gonna And had he have stuck with me, oh my God, I can only imagine how much success I would have had, because this did affect, rightfully so. It was horrifically traumatizing. And it just shows how strong I actually am. And if I didn't have my faith, I fear for people that don't have stuff like I do, like my fans and my family, and a talent that I know that I am very good at. What if I didn't have those things? Oh my God, guaranteed. I promise you, there's no fucking way I would have. Especially because I was isolated. I had just moved back from Vegas with my person, and I thought this was this was him. This was it. And then slowly everything would start to change, and there was savage, and I didn't know where it was coming from. It was like throwing rocks, hiding hands, but I felt the energy. Nobody could like convince me otherwise, because it was affecting me. I'm like, so when you're a real empath, I'm sure some of you can relate, y'all, that like you can go into a room and all of a sudden the most micro shifts in energy, you'll feel it. And if you don't know how to separate your energy from other people's energy, you could absorb it and confuse it as your own, or it can turn into manifestations of fear and paranoia that something bad is about to happen. And usually you're on point, because if you're a real empath, like there is something wrong. Like you will be the first one to be able to tell too, before anybody else. Like, and so you it's very easy to sound crazy to tell them before they notice it, especially without giving like a very concrete reason as to why. If you were just, because I would feel it, but I didn't yet know exactly why. I had theories, but I didn't want to say them until I knew for sure that they made sense, because then it would possibly compromise my credibility. And I already knew that what I was touching on was so far-fetched that if I didn't get it right the first time, that would be the only time before I would be kind of written off quickly, because you're being something's wrong with you, you're being paranoid, or this is the artist that's slowly losing her mind. That's more probable than what you're talking about. That's what I was dealing with, y'all. So it was like, because a lot of artists, they can get ungrounded, but I'm not that person. I'm very grounded. I'm talking like it's very hard to gaslight me, y'all. For real. And the reason why I got so dysregulated was because I never stopped fighting for myself. Never. And I never stopped holding people accountable for the alien-like lack of empathy or benefit of the doubt, or the unwillingness to try to help or mediate, or how quick they were to be like try to convince us to separate or to isolate me. Or I mean, it was like, and I was told that this was like his family almost, that this was like his ex-wife. They weren't together anymore, they're separated, but like that's his friend still. She's with somebody else though. But it's like, and I didn't want it to seem like I wanted to isolate him and not have friends, but everybody was projecting that at me, and I was like, wait, what? I would never be that person. I'm not a narcissist. Why would you assume that too? Is that how you are? Like, I started thinking, I'm like, why would you jump to that? No. How about the fact that like I set a boundary with his other friend, an ex, because she keeps trying to date him while I'm in a relationship. So either my person is lying to me and not setting boundaries and making it clear that, hey, I'm in a relationship, there needs to be boundaries here, or she's just like has no respect, right? So I didn't know, because I feel like now I know that I think he was like somewhat manipulating me too. I don't think he understood to what extent this was happening. I think he was fucked up too, and I'm glad that I'm not with him anymore, because he didn't protect me, and he was in between worlds, because before me he was a little bit he's a little bit more like open, non-committal, like, ethical polyamory, right? Which is fine. I'm not judgmental, but like he made it clear when we got together that like I was like his dream girl, like literally, like he's been wanting a deeper connection, and he just never found it. And I was the opposite of these people. The people he was dealing with were very transactionally based. They were narcissistic based. They weren't nurturing. And they faked kindness very well by doing everything but the emotional part of it. So I was the only one that could detect and at first they, like, especially his ex-wife, she fooled me for a second because I hadn't been in her energy and to feel it yet. It was mostly through like text, and she seemed very compassionate. But then I realized, wait a minute, why is she so involved? Why is she always here when these energy shifts happen? So I had to literally really go into my high priestess mode, y'all. And like, I couldn't even, it blew my mind. So imagine discovering that everything you were feeling, it was true, and then some, and worse. And then you were left alone to process and isolate that, while they had thought that there was no way in hell that I'd ever be smart enough to know what the fuck they were doing to me. That I would be so far gone and delulu in the head that I would never, they took me as a page of cups, y'all. I'm an empress, high priest, I'm a psychic. So like, they perceived me as an empath. They didn't know, and on the spectrum, they didn't know that I'm not just on the spectrum and an empath and a naive page of cups. No. How do you think I got to where I got? You think I can just only be a page of cups? Do you know how much strength it takes to get through the rejections? Do you know how many rejections you have to go through to get one placement, one big record? Oh my God, you have to have the thickest skin ever while maintaining your soft heart inside so you could be creative. And have blind faith that you know you're meant to do this. It doesn't matter. It's about when. It's not about if it's going to work out. It's about when. And you just have to keep believing. And for 10 years straight, even if barely anything happens, you still know that it's going to pan out, and keep going. That's the only path there is. And that's what I did. I ended up getting 4 publishing deals. I've released over 100 records on big labels like Monster Cat. 500,000 people go to EDC every year, and Excision plays my song still every show, y'all. It's surreal when you go to EDC and it's like all of a sudden you hear your voice everywhere and everybody's singing to it, and I'm like, whoa, dude, I manifested this. And they just think I'm a page of cups, y'all. I'm a magician. I'm a temperance. I'm a strength. And I had to be all these things because I was chosen to do something. And what's crazy is they were the catalyst to really waking up my psychic abilities even more, because they were blocking those when they were in my energy. And because I'm so empathic, y'all, and because I adored my person so much, I would not prioritize my intuition over my empathy sometimes. Big mistake. Because I didn't know that he wasn't going to fight for me or give me the benefit of the doubt, or how effective their dark psychology was. And I wasn't fully in my high priestess yet. I was stronger than all of them. At the end of the day, I'm going to take all these motherfuckers out. That's why they keep showing up in my energy. Oh, help. They're all watching me, y'all. And I have a whole binder of proof of all. You wouldn't even believe the things. Yes. What the Queen of Wands is saying, I'm a Sagittarius, y'all, look, is making somebody feel very unbalanced. This could be real time, y'all. Literally, while I'm giving the reading right now. What this Queen of Wands is saying, that would be me, or whoever relates to this message. Somebody's watching. Hi, just in case you're here. Is making somebody feel very unbalanced. Possibly an earth sign, or because they do tarot. Look, the Page of Pentacles is somebody that could be into esoteric. Yeah, this is literally, it could be literally because of somebody's committed to this new seed, and there's this player energy here. A lover. Oh my God, y'all, this is crazy. So the spiritual journey is wild, y'all. Nobody could ever tell me this shit isn't in real time. Like there's people that, they just memorize the cards and stuff. But when you're an energy reader, it's more than that. Oh, here. So somebody literally manipulated a promise. This was a bad idea. Wow. And that's the thing. I was so ready to give compassion. I would consider every possible option before I would conclude the things that they were so quick to conclude and project onto me. That's why I didn't understand. I was like, why are you guys always trying to, like, pounce on any opportunity to convince us to separate. Like, yeah, look, somebody didn't want to hear that they were being manipulated, or somebody was stubborn and they kept going with this. Yeah, you did. And I have a binder full of proof. And you hacking my computer and destroying 2 of my hard drives with all my life's work on it didn't do much. Thank God. Your computer hard drives don't just fail out of nowhere, y'all. There was so many things, and it was like crazy. My credit got hit with an $8,000 account. I mean, dude. Yes, they should be, absolutely. But I've been so patient. Because I've also been compiling, and it's still going on. The latest was the TikTok profile, where they were just ripping my videos, right, on here. And they blocked me, so I couldn't see it. So I have angels, I have eyes, and they come to me. It's like they're guided to tell me, hey, is this your other account? It's almost as if, like, the divine pushes them to approach me about it. So if you ever see any other account, y'all, please come to me, because I can just add it to the fucking portfolio. But anyway, what they were doing is they were coming after my following. It was the only difference in the username. It was that _ misunderstood siren, right? And I would have never seen the profile, because obviously they have my page blocked, but they would unblock it to download the videos, and then, anyway. And so they were just stealing my content, and then they would prompt readings to people. I would never do that, by the way. If I ever message you for a reading, it's responding to you messaging me. So just know that that's not me. This is my only page, okay? And I have a YouTube, and I have an Instagram. My Instagram is verified, by the way. But yeah, so like, oh, and I'm so glad I had some boundaries. Like I refused, like, and I was guilted, but I still didn't like he wanted access to share, and I don't think he had bad intentions at the time, but I'm so glad, because he got manipulated to be an op, basically, to even sleep with the ops, basically, like, oh, help, and to basically be involved in trying to destroy my life and my life's work. Yeah. Somebody had an idea on how to break a promise so that they can gain a gift. Yeah, I wonder. My gift? You mean what my gift brought me? What I built, the network, the following. Yeah. Bully in reverse. Somebody couldn't bully, because the promise that the spirit is trying to talk about right now is they wanted me blind to something, but they don't understand that I had made a vow to myself. That's the reason why I had gotten so far. So it didn't matter if he broke a promise to me. Of course it mattered. It broke my heart, and like a billion times, right? I loved him to pieces. Someone's luck was on purpose. It wasn't an accident. They thought that I garnered my success by luck on accident. No, sweetheart. I like, all I did and lived and breathed was music, to be able to do what I do, to gain the attention that I get, which I don't even do it for that. I do it to get the music out there, to help people, because I would be doing music anyway, regardless of, I don't have any interest in fame, actually. I have an interest in connecting with people, though, and I think music brings people together. But they were looking at what I garnered from, because a starseed, here's the thing, a lot of people want fame, right? They want to be viewed as a star, but that's not what a true starseed is. The attention that a starseed gets and the fame they get is a symptom of their light. But a starseed doesn't do it for fame. They're a healer. So everything I do, my music, is community minded. If you know anything about me, I'm not one of those artists that tour. I actually accomplished everything I've accomplished, like, basically in the shadows in my own studio, performing maybe only a few shows here and there. So imagine if I did do it for fame, like, I'd be way bigger, right? But I'm not interested in that. I don't really actually like all that attention. They do, though. That's what they wanted. They wanted everything I had without having to work for it. What they didn't realize is that all I did, I got truant in school because that's all I wanted to do. I was possessed at my piano, like 12 hours a day for, they say it takes 10,000 hours to master something. I didn't take lessons either, you guys. I taught everything self-taught. My imagination was like... Anyway, I'm sharing this with you guys because It's wild how accurate this is and that is coming out now. And I want to involve you guys so that you know too. Also, if like, I don't want anyone to ever get scammed. So this wasn't an accident. So if my person thinks that, or if they think I'm unaware that this was intentional, I know it was intentional. Trust me. I also know that they were trying to hope for the worst for me, and they were doing every single thing possible to make that happen. They knew. They worked really hard on this. They worked really hard at, a 10 of swords to somebody innocent that didn't do anything. Do you know how much trauma that is, y'all? You don't even do this to somebody who's guilty. I mean, you only need one sword. The 3 of swords is already hurtful enough. That's like usually indicative of a heartbreak or a betrayal in a relationship, and it's so painful through the heart. Tell me when you would ever need this many swords. This is like a whole group coming up like from the back of you out of nowhere, laughing and then leaving you for dead. They worked really hard on this ending. They probably got off and fantasized about it and got excited because they're psycho. Yeah. Master manipulators. And I remember it's like I didn't understand why my person was so, it was so easy for him to want to like leave or avoid conflict, because it was almost as if he was kind of scared of me, and I didn't understand. I was like, why are you not trying to like finish this conversation, or why are you trying to just leave and not tell me what's going on? Like, and so one time he left and I showed up at his parents' house to say, hey, are we breaking up? If so, can I at least get a hug? I don't know what the hell's going on, but, and then the next thing I know, because I showed up, this is how fucked up it was. This is how much manipulation was going on. Somebody was what'd I just say? They daydreamed about this manipulation and how good all the luck they were going to get and steal from me, dude. Literally held coach sessions on how they were going to get all my blessings, all my luck, and basically live my life instead of me. But there was no evidence. So they had to do this without actual evidence. And it's like, are you kidding me? You were willing to believe all this without for sure getting evidence? Are you serious? How? Because they studied manipulation to the extent, and they were patient. They did it over time. So I had the whole relationship, y'all. I would feel weird energy, but I didn't realize who it was coming from yet, and I didn't know, like, he didn't tell me who he was talking to because he wanted to avoid conflict, so he just kind of, like, it's hard to explain, but, like, I knew something was weird in my energy. I didn't feel good in my energy. I didn't want to eat that much in my energy. I didn't want to sleep that much. I was very restless and anxious, and I attributed it to the trauma I had been through before I started dating my ex, which I shared with some of you that I got attacked, right? By somebody that was on drugs all of a sudden, and he like strangled me almost to death, okay? So after I survived that, I was already recovering from trauma. Imagine trying to heal from that, losing your voice, which is the only like way to alchemize that I knew. So I had to find a whole new creative outlet because I thought there was a possibility that, oh my God, like my voice has to recover, but it's already been 2 months and I still can't sing. Like, so I was starting to panic inside, but I didn't say it out loud, that like, oh my God, if my voice doesn't return, then, I mean, I don't know why, like, God would have woken me back up. Because, like, seriously, like, I don't know who I am if I can't do music. That would be so cruel, right? But my voice did come back, thank God. He didn't damage my vocal cords to that extent. It just took a long time to recover, y'all. He's in prison. Don't worry about him. He's a totally different issue. But anyway, I thought I met my person after that, and I was already very nervous to open up, and I thought everything looked good. Like, he was a single child. He was ex-military. His father was a scientist. His mother did Broadway. I mean, they looked like a put-together family. They lived in one of the better neighborhoods in Vegas. I was living in Vegas at the time. Big mistake. And, he told me that he had, a past, but that since had divorced from his wife, who just couldn't step away from that. But he made it seem like he doesn't even talk to her anymore, that he had to stay away from her, that he would make it seem like she was kind of crazy, so he had hard boundaries with her. But then it started to change. And I was like, wait a minute. I thought you said that, like, why is she approaching you with this, stuff like this? First of all, it makes me uncomfortable. Why aren't you telling her to not do that if you're breaking away? So it's almost as like, because he was needing money at the time, it's like the opportunity, like he couldn't resist or something. It's like she must have made the deal sound so juicy that he like was really, because I saw him go from like, we were having a great day, and then all of a sudden she made this offer that was illegal, by the way. And I was like, you're not actually like considering it, but I held space. So I almost was ominous. Like he probably thought that I was open-minded to it, but what I was actually doing, and I wasn't testing him, I was observing. I wanted to know how he organically reacted to that, because I pay attention. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to set a boundary now. All right, I'm going to tell her never to do that again. Like never make those offers again, because they don't, they toxify or potentially endanger our relationship, since you're not going to. He's like, please don't do that. Please just protect our peace. Don't say anything at all. Just nobody talk to anyone. So, and I didn't realize that this poor kid had been abused as fuck. And he probably went through so much shit with this bitch, to where he's like, oh my God, I don't want to piss her off. And he didn't tell me those things, but like, now that in the future, now I've had visions and stuff, and now I know why me showing up to his house for a hug to get clarity if we were breaking up or not ended up in a restraining order towards me. That was nuts. I was like, wait a minute, are you kidding? What's going on here? So that just told me, oh my God, like the things that he must have had to go through to make him this paranoid and to assume that I was dangerous. It's like, what the fuck happened here, or is happening here? It was the most crazy experience ever. And then his parents were weird, dude. They were really nice at first, but then anytime I wanted clarity, like his mother, not a maternal bone in her body towards me. I was like, what is going on? What's happening? Is he okay? Like, I'm worried about him. Like, and I told her, I was like, his ex-wife just, like, I'm worried he's in trouble. I'm worried he's in trouble. Like, no, you have to hear me out. Like, why am I being blocked on everything? I'm not, did they tell you that I'm going to be lying to you and acting crazy? I'm serious. Like, so, but it's like, oh my God, I was put in a trick box, dude. It was the most biggest mental mind fuck, y'all. I couldn't even believe it. I was like, wow, this is crazy. They must have really had meetings about this on every detail on how to execute this, because, oh my God, everywhere I looked, there was an obstacle of how do I get people to not think I'm crazy saying these things, and to also believe me and have the same concern that I do, and realize your son is potentially in danger and getting conned, because they know how to manipulate him and pull on his insecurity strings when he needs money, or when and it's like he was doing so well with me, but and I didn't know all the details, you guys. I was putting it all together in my head alone with no help, while grieving, while trying to stay calm and not have a heart attack, while forcing myself not to chase after him to make sure he's okay, because I knew that what would await me there is these psycho bitches being like, see, she's codependent chaser. Oh my God, you got to protect yourself. She showed up all the way from California at your parents' house. She knows where they live. Like, and I wasn't any of those things. That's what he went through with her, though. And she was trying to, like, seem as though she healed and projecting it all onto me. I know what I'm talking about. You know how I used to be when I was unbalanced. You know, like, stuff like that, guys. It was so fucked up. And there was no even little crack that I could think of at the time, because I was also, keep in mind, y'all, I was doing all this at the same time. I was recovering from the attack that had nothing to do with these people prior, trying to re-regulate my nervous system, because I couldn't even sleep, really. I couldn't watch TV. had a weird trauma responses, and nobody could come walking up behind me, stuff like that, right? And it was scary. It was very scary because I had just went through a situation. Okay, I'll just tell you. He attacked me, he strangled me, he body slammed me to the floor, strangled me into unconsciousness, and in those moments where I was like, oh my God, you cannot be serious. God, there's no fucking way that this is how it ends. There's no way. But if it does, like, and my family is to find me on the floor of my closet, my fucking walk-in closet. And that's how I leave this place, from some drug addict, okay? I know that, please don't do me like that. Find a way. But I know, like, if he doesn't let go in about 2 seconds, like, I don't know what's going to happen. So please make sure that they know I love them, and make it, and I was thinking all these things in my head, y'all. That's how crazy it is. And it's in a matter of what, 30 seconds to a minute tops. I was like, I love you, Mom. Because I couldn't say it out loud. I was completely restricted. Like, it was scary as fuck. So yeah, it was, recovering from that alone was enough. Was more than enough. And then I thought I did meet my person. It was like, we were so good together. And then all of a sudden everything started to change and feel sadistic because of the energies that were around him. And he was very generous, very kind. He wasn't innocent, though. And he did have his materialistic struggle, because, like, he was around the wrong influences. And she knew that it's like, how certain men get when they don't have money. There's certain men out here that associate their value in this world with how they can provide, right? And if you know what I mean, and that's absolutely not how it should be, but a lot